You can go on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, get our, you'll see the link on the right. You just click on it and join us, all right? West Indies 5-4-92. And of course, let's say good morning going out to Nadia Sanawa. She's out in the Netherlands. She's an amazing painter. You should see some of her paintings. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. All right, gentlemen?
All right, we're back. Of course, we could give the results of our poll. And we asked this morning, do you think the advisory from the U.S. authorities on Port of Spain and Trinidad in particular is justified? We had 15 people weighing in on our poll in that allotted time. 14 said no, one person said yes.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
You did?
Yeah,
you did?
I
All right.
got
Nice
that too.
Well, online so far, got a lot of votes already online. 94% said yes. All right, so this is going to stay up.
94% said yes.
Yeah, 94 said yes. Of course, this is going to stay up on our website and our mobile app till Monday morning when I give you the final results.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's our poll. That's so it'll be interesting to hear what people will think. The people who will join us this morning. It'll be interesting to hear the people who saying yes. Why would they say something like that? I mean, it's true we have a group of people who like to talk this country bad whilst trying their best to run the country, but I can't see how those things could be justified. Some of those comments could be justified at all, especially that paragraph with the terrorist institution. That could never be justified. We don't have terrorists attacking churches and sporting grounds and cultural places and local government offices. Where the hell that come from? Come on. Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy too when you're trying to get a visa to the US and they tell you, well, come back next year.
We have had several international and local concerts here, including, especially for Carnival, and we have had so many international reggae artists, so many international performers here. We have not had one single incident that could be even remotely regarded as a terrorist incident at one of those concerts. Not one. So why would you include cultural events in those things, in your nonsense? You understand? We have had local vandalism of churches, but we don't have terrorist attack on a church. We have never had anybody murdered in a church by somebody running in with a gun. Come on. Schools, no.
Yeah. You could also give us a call at 222-8255, 612-8255. And of course, North Americans, that's US and Canada, you can call toll free at 866-525-1099. All right?
Yeah. Where did Richard go? Did Richard Face come on just now?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You probably have tea time, and we have some challenges today.
Who's that?
Wendell, could you raise your head in the frame a bit, please?
I had to pull my screen forward.
Yeah, well, you have to adjust it.
Much better.
Yeah.
All right, got some calls coming through. So good morning to you.
Good morning, Orlando calling.
Hey, Orlando, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. I hope the same for you. I am saying that the bulletin put out by the U.S. Embassy, which probably went up to this stage, but has to go up to this
Barely hearing you, Orlando.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
You're driving. It sounds like you're driving.
Glenn, you're not clear to.
I'm actually jogging.
Oh, you're jogging.
Better now? Is it any better?
Maybe a little bit. I have to hear you.
Okay, let me say this. It's totally unjustified. We do not have that situation in Trinidad. And I think the Trinidad government should start putting out bulletins of all the crime that happens in America, all the mass shootings all over, and we should put out an alert how unsafe it is to go to America also. Okay? Because America to me is much more unsafe than Trinidad. I hope you heard me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And who could forget Who could forget the mass shooting at an Orlando nightclub a few years ago? I remember I went to Orlando literally a couple days after that, and the whole place was jumpy because I was at one of the outlet malls, and all of a sudden you just started to see people run inside the store, and people were just running, trying to get to the back door. Next thing you know, the people at the store ushering us through the back entrance, the exit of the store, and I'm saying, what is going on? You know, and it's because there was a talk that circulated in the mall that there was a shooter in the mall. Of course, it was just mass panic. We ended up out of the store with the things we were buying in our hands. We had to go back in the store after a while and say, well, look, these are the things that we would like to have, and we paid for it. But I'm sure a lot of people ran out of stores with stuff that day. It was crazy, and I think it was at the shooting a couple days before, was at a gay nightclub that they had shot some people. I'm sure you'll remember that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mass panic in Orlando. America brave, yes. Anyway, but I guess we don't like to offend them, so we probably won't say anything. You know?
All right, lots of calls coming through. Missed that one. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. God bless.
Good morning, New York.
Good morning, New York.
Morning. I guess we are still in budget mode because the finance committee is still in session. And I just two observations. One, there were two former cabinet ministers on your program after the budget was presented. And they were questioning the credibility of the Minister of Finance figures. It's like as though he put it off from a hat. And Mr. Barrett and Ms. Nunes Sarah, as former cabinet ministers, they know that is an impossible thing to do for a minister, sitting cabinet minister, to submit a budget presentation and just pull the figures out of a hat. And I mean, they're on television and they're on radio and they're questioning the credibility of the minister's figures. And I'm wondering, what are the technicians in the ministries who were preparing the various budgets for the ministry? What are they thinking when they hear about that? I mean, are these people questioning their intelligence and the way that their efficiency to work? I mean, this was a really hard one for these technicians. I can well understand how they feel. Number two, just a short two, bicycle. Gentlemen, most of you have been in New York. All around the 5 boroughs of New York have bicycle ports owned by Citibank. And I mean, what Mr. Scotland said about riding to work, I don't see what was the big hullabaloo about it. I mean, I work in Wall Street area for the city, and I mean, people actually bike from Harlem to New York to Lower Manhattan, from, let us say, Canarsie, where I live, to Lower down. I mean, what is the big thing about biking? Well, the coal pot. Everybody likes their coal pot in the summer here anyway to barbecue. So have a great day, gentlemen. God bless you, and I'm listening. I'm sorry that I cannot join you on your YouTube. Have a great day. God bless you guys, and God bless Trinidad.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, everything wrong about riding on these streets, especially in the city of Port of Spain. Everything wrong about it. It's not safe. We don't have riding lanes here like most other places have. We don't have that discipline. Drivers have very little respect for cyclists in this place. So much so that a cyclist a media man was killed, mowed down. We never heard anything about that case around the Savannah since. We have not heard any report from the police about who was caught when they knocked him down. And the issue of coals, I mean, you just had to read up on it. It's carbon monoxide it's not good for you. So now you don't even bother with that.
I'm surprised he didn't chastise the Prime Minister for chastising the ministers.
You know that? Yeah, I know. I think, as I said, some of them feel they're making a joke, feel they're trying to be funny, but you can't be funny in these times. You'll come across as insensitive. There are some things you just don't joke about, and things like that you just don't joke about, you know?
Morning, caller.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning, ma'am.
As George Umbala Joseph used to say, the person who wrote that advisory about Trinidad, he has to be a madman. Because America, with all the mass shooting, you can't even go nowhere without you have to duck all over all the states in America. Well, don't talk about Florida. Miami, I just called there the murder capital of the United States. But my son just told me, no, mommy. He said, where is New Orleans? Some state he just called. Anyway, they're serious. And I want to thank that caller who called from the United States and said what he said, because it have a lot of Trinidadians living abroad on this. If you just hear them, oh God, I afraid to come back to Trinidad. And I just say, what? And every time I have a friend, she does only want to WhatsApp me when murder happen here. And I start WhatsApping she back whenever it had the shootings in America, and that is where stop she. Thank you, sir, for letting people know America worse than Trinidad. And we could start advising our people about going to the United States. Richard Ragoobarsingh, I want to find out something. Could I go to the Freedom of Information Act and get who the Chief Justice House was sold to and what was the cost when the UNC sold it? Could I go and make a request for that? Because
But that was public knowledge.
right, I would like to know who bought that Chief Justice House and how much it was sold for, because that looked like it is top secret in Trinidad. If I didn't hear the Prime Minister talk about, or is the Prime Minister, someone of them spoke about the
Prime Minister. Is the Prime
right,
Minister?
spoke about the Chief Justice House is sold, and that is why we paying $54,000. Oh my God, $54,000 a month, and Kamala and them sell that house. Oh, you got to be crazy. I just keep telling people, they only talking about, oh, and we wasting money. That jet fuel, it cost this country. When Kamala Prasad Bissessa was riding up and down like she was flying like the flying nun, and only costing this country money in jet fuel, and you at somebody called the figure 19 million or something. She fly more than Barack Obama and all the presidents in the United States. Y'all have a good day. I'm gone.
Yeah. The issue of that Chief Justice House, though, that was since the first incarnation of the UNC government. Michael de Labastide, I think, was Chief Justice at the time. And there was a little tiff between himself and the then Attorney General, Ramesh Lawrence. I don't know why I remember in all this. And the house was sold, it was auctioned, and a particular big businessman bought it and then demolished it right after and built up his palatial mansion. It's still there.
All right. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. You know, some of us could afford food and transportation and what have you, even though this country goes way down. You know, there's not all of us will find ourselves in a desperate situation, but we ought not to be making joke about the issue, because there are people who are facing real transportation problems to send their children to school, and a bicycle is not the solution. And some of them are going to have problems not only to buy cooking gas, but to buy things to cook. And, you know, so it's not a joking matter at all. And it's not a matter that we should be distracted from by a joke or by all this talk that is generated as a result of it. Now, maybe the MP did not think that it would go this far. Maybe it was his 15 seconds of fame, you know, that he would get a little joke, a little laugh here and there, and that it would be over. But it points to a deeper problem in that he is not focused on the misery that you face when you get up in the morning. I mean, myself and my two brothers, we had to ride a bicycle to school and get wet and run from dogs and all kinds of issues, because 5 of us were in school at one time, and my parents couldn't pay passage for all of us, right? My two sisters, they got the taxis, and we took bicycles together with other people. But that is not viable anymore for safety reasons and all kinds of other reasons. So that's not a solution. And what has Scotland proposed that is going to be of help to anybody in his entire speech, which I didn't hear? Maybe somebody could help. What did he say that was of value to any of the people who are going to be pauperized by the rise in fuel and other expenses? Nothing at all. So I think he should be severely chastised.
Well, he has been, Mr. Pinal.
Yeah. Well, it's going to continue. This is going to stay with him till the end of his days.
Is that so?
Budget debates.
Okay.
About the time that he would probably have left.
All right.
50 budget. I'm being generous because if you ride that bicycle, you never know. For the next 50 budget debates, this is going to come up or some kind of thing from the time anybody hears his name. This is not going away. Why would you do that to yourself, and why would you do that to poor people? People who are going to be dispossessed. You see, anytime there's pressure on the population, there's always a bunch of people who fall off the system completely. And you don't make jokes about it.
All right, Mr. Pinal, we get your point. We have already agreed on that. We have actually agreed on that. So we get your point.
Well, I'm sure that everybody have agreed on anything that could be said for the rest of today. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Have a good day. You must join us on Zoom so we can see you one of these days, Mr. Pinal.
Yeah, and you too can join us.
To this show, eh?
Yeah, you too can join us on Zoom. Just go to our YouTube channel right now. Look for Power 102 FM, and you'll see the Zoom link on the right. Let's say good morning, good night, Anthony Tinto, who's watching us via Zoom. Good morning to you.
Why Tinto not joining us on Zoom?
I don't know. All right, morning, Trinity.
Morning. How are you doing?
Trinity, you two, a regular contributor, should join us on Zoom one of these days, man. Let's see what you look like.
Well, you know what I look like already?
Of course I know, but plenty of people else want to know.
All right, I'll do that one day. I'll put on my little makeup and foundation and thing.
Whatever.
Oh, jeez, honey, just. Oh, boy.
I go to the mall, I lady come asking for foundation and face. If I say, was a house they want to build? Is makeup, yes?
Don't provoke that moment this morning. Don't provoke that moment this morning, you know.
You're on your own.
Yeah, that flood in Aruka was horrible, boy. Horrible. I listened to the Minister of Local Government this morning. I tried to defend his friend, boy. Ikowoka, Minister of Education, saying they can't call off school just so. I said, man, them fellas really is too, boy. You see people places flood in Trinidad and Tobago, east, west, north, and south. Oh, it does not flood one place. It don't not flood there. But the country is in a flood situation. Call off the school and done the talk. Like all that.
Well, I could correct you, Mr. Trinity. West didn't flood. South didn't flood. East didn't flood.
But it had flood.
Some parts of East flood. Some parts of East.
It had 95% flood.
Where?
You got to prepare the children to go to school and they got to go to work.
Not a place in the West flooded.
All right, so let me make it safe, sir.
Not a place down south flooded. What else?
So if you hear bomb dropping in Uganda and bomb dropping Sogola and bomb dropping Marima, you go say it's an over?
You're going to a little extreme example there, right?
But these people are going extreme. They are going extreme too. No, forget them.
You say east, west, north, and south flooded, you know. You said it and I'm correcting it.
All right. We go argument this morning.
We're not arguing. I just want facts. I ain't gonna let you
The road networks would have been affected, and the major arteries in and out across Trinidad would have been affected. And I think that's the point you're trying to make, Mr. Patrick.
Don't help him, Richard. Use Mr. Patrick Lawyer this morning.
I said you said Mr. Wendell.
No, but I think what he's making is a valid point.
I'm not saying his point.
That if there is disruption, that you have to be sensible about, look, let's have less people on the streets
I am not arguing
while we
that.
deal with a situation.
Mr.
That's all I
Patrick
say.
said
That's all I
east,
say.
west,
That's all I
north,
say.
and south flooded, and both
Yeah.
you and I know that's not true.
Well, right, but there are people living south of Compton, and people living south of Arima and Grandi. Right, no, forget that. I went to City Gate yesterday for the longest while, boy. So I wanted to use the washroom, Wendell.
Oh boy.
So you're gonna tell me I had to pay $2, right? To use the washroom, right? So I tell the lady, well, I don't have $2 right now on the. She said we have to go in front.
Why would you tell such a blatant untruth?
But I don't have no $2 in my pocket.
Right, go ahead, Pina.
Right.
Trinity.
So here the lady tell me I don't go in front by the step. The lady get there. But they selling ticket now, the bus ticket.
Yeah.
So I said, as a matter question, so if I walk from here to there now and I put down myself, she started to laugh. She said, "Let's go." When I went inside, all the city get fixed up the toilet and bathroom and lights by. If you're nice inside the local well, new toilet, new apparatus, new toilet, new face basin, new everything inside the local well, new and nice. Well, I come back outside and I congratulate them. And I say, let me go and pay and bring back the ticket for you because I see we're only using the money and do nice things, right?
So you give them $10 instead.
All right, nice. So,
well, that's good information to know, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, it is actually.
But but somebody sitting down at a bathroom to collect $2.
Yeah, but I told her now, I said,
okay.
People still have to walk up them old step there. While they put on escalator, it's that people with knee problem, foot problem, or kind of problem, put on escalator.
You're describing Richard right there.
That's a long-standing issue, and I remember it was brought up very clearly to me by Dr. Job when he had some issues from a surgery, and he was saying he just had to walk up those stairs because Dr. Job was a big user of public transport, and he said it was basically very horrible because people are bustling back and forth. They don't really care that you're moving slower and that you have to take a step at a time. And he was just saying, in this day and age, couldn't they have modernized it and made it easier in terms of all of the how modern facilities, transport facilities look? I remember Dr. Job and I having that discussion. So that's also a valid point you're making. That's ridiculous, which we have talked about before on this show.
Wendell, I want to ask a question. Miss Donna Cox say they want to remove some food can and put food box. What is she talking about, sir?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That's a little confusing because I saw that on news where they said food box, less food cards and more food boxes. And I was like, huh? And then in the newspapers yesterday, I saw food boxes alongside food cards. So I was, which is it? Is it, one replacing the other, which was the initial kind of narrative, and then, or is it that it's just going to be alongside? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, I'm gone.
All right, Mr. Patrick. Listen, Mr. Patrick, you from now on, you and Mr. Pinal will have to join our Zoom session live because this is being broadcast on YouTube. The whole idea is to see people. Or you can't be coming and taking up half the show, talking all your thing, and nobody not seeing all you. So from now on, you and Mr. Pinal, don't call 7 to 8 unless all you're coming on live on the screen, right?
On a Friday.
On a Friday.
Remiss of me to say Anthony Tinto would like to wish his brother Trevor Tinto happy birthday. So Trevor Tinto, happy birthday. Dancing Queen, have a great day. Trevor Broadbelt, good morning, guys. And H.S. Wilson also says good morning. Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Good morning, guys. Have a wonderful day and weekend. All right. Thank you so much, Ray.
Happy early birthday to Bernadette Brown.
Oh, yes.
Her birthday is on Sunday.
I tell her I'll be it on Monday, please.
Yeah, so happy early birthday to her. Well, a birthday in advance, and we could probably say belated birthday on Monday.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Just me again, just a minute. Wendell, I understand your situation about Wendell.
Yes, sir.
I understand your situation about there are no bike lanes in Trinidad. But there were no bike lanes in New York City. This started under Mayor towards the end of Mayor Bloomberg and continued under Mayor de Blasio. So I mean, it's something new you can introduce. I mean, again, maybe the city council can look at it as an investment to establish bike lanes in the city, and I mean, invest in a couple bikes and make some, and that could bring some revenue for the city. Yeah. And to the senator Paul, I will not chastise the prime minister. I will chastise you, who are always on radio talking about crime, and when there is an opportunity for it to assist in resolving crime, you voted against it. That is who I will chastise. You, Senator Paul, useless.
No, you can't.
Yeah. No,
right.
don't
you know
talk.
what? You know what, Pinhal?
You can criticize it.
You know what, New York?
You could make constructive criticism, but don't get, you know.
So when I
on our colleagues on this morning show.
Yeah,
when I see you calling, I am not going to take your call. Hold on, Wendell. This is not the first time that you have called, not only insulted us, but also listeners. So I am not going to take your call anymore.
Yeah.
I have told you that once before, and this is it. All right, New York. So thanks for listening.
Don't insult.
If you criticize all you want, do not insult. I told you about it before.
Yeah.
You need to check yourself a little bit. Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Aye.
David Rudder sang a calypso, half the country mad. And I want to tell Twin City, I cannot see. Rain fell. We didn't have flood in the west that yesterday morning, but rain fell from Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And I would have had to be a mad person to dress my grandson and go and carry him in a school and vex when I hear they say, no school. I now understand why the teachers had to say they are not our babysitters. Because you can't tell me you're going to put your child in school uniform and carry it in a school with that kind of weather. Look, mad people. I think David Rodata right over that calypso is more than half mad. I'm gone.
All
right. 6 for 33?
Yeah. Akilo Sign putting up a good little fight, but I mean, just too many runs to make in too few balls. But he at least putting up a fight.
How many?
It's
what
133 for 6. We have 46 runs to make in 11 balls.
Yeah, that is possible, but let's see. Sherry Ann McLean, good morning to you. Have a great day as well. Be safe. All right, thank you, Sherry Ann. Let's continue to take your calls. Let's head up to the
out Akilo Sign.
I just looked down.
Just out the next ball.
You have goat mouth. You are not to talk cricket anymore. That's it. 7 for the loss of 133. Sleepiest person in the world.
Gentlemen, good morning again. I so want to agree with Mr. Martin that people, they're vexed with what Lisa Morris say. They're vexed with what the Mrs. Gatsby Dolly come too late. Yes, it was a bit tardy, but as the Mr. Faris Alwari put it, it was a situation where it was a touch and go because they didn't say it was a hurricane or a storm. But it had adverse weather. But people of themselves have to be sensible to know with that kind of rain. And the second night, the rain started from the night and it didn't stop. Where you taking your child to go? Is the same teachers afterward to swim, cross the bridges and the rivers that overflow to get to the school? Yes, all you want all the children to learn, but what, all you don't like them either? You want to send them out there to drown? Be sensible, because all around where some of them live in, they have to actually must take off their shoes and socks and walk in the water and then put it on when they reach on dry to go to school. Well, they have to go to the extreme and vex with the authorities now. All the big and all they have sense. I got up very early and I called. I didn't even hear anything of what the minister and them said yet. I say, yeah, what? I call my children, you know. I say, I hope all you wake up my grandchildren to put them outside here. And all of them told me, no, you're mad. They say, with that weather. And they called them for them early the day before. Over the school 10:30. So where you picking up your child to send them? And all they want everything is a complaining in this country.
Yep.
And big people use all the cranium a bit now.
Yeah. Paul, let me ask this question. Thanks, Zina. Let me ask this question, Paul. Can a minister of education in certain circumstances, let's say in that particular circumstance, make a unilateral decision, or will she have to consult with the chief education officer and with the PS and so on? Can she just make a unilateral decision like that?
I don't know that they make unilateral decisions generally.
Right. So
I think any situation like that, one would have to presume that there is a consultation with stakeholders. And also, I mean, you're not going to, this is my presumption. I've never been an education minister, so I'm guessing here. You would confer with the Minister of Local Government and Rural. You confer with the Minister of Transport because you want to know what the situation of the roads are. And before you make the decision, you advise the Prime Minister.
Right.
But the Prime Minister can't hear in the news that schools close.
Right. Exactly.
You understand? So there has to be some level of collaboration between senior cabinet members in the significant portfolios, and then a decision will be made. I don't think it's ever going to be a unilateral decision. We've had Derek joined us and Oliver joined us. Good morning.
But I have a call online already. Thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I think they should leave this lady alone. Long ago, nobody didn't used to see nothing on the news to say, well, don't carry the children to school. You get up in the morning. If you see the weather looking funny, you keep the children at home. So I don't know what they're querying about.
Yeah.
Wendell?
Yes.
They're querying about the late notice of it because parents would have dropped off their children already.
Yes.
Wendell indicated earlier that not everywhere flooded, so people in Western Trinidad and Southern Trinidad may have had a different experience to what was going on in Aruca and in the East-West corridor. So the issue was 7 a.m. timely enough in the morning when parents had already dropped. Many parents, I don't know if people know this, I mean being from Arima, you were sometimes already in a maxi at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, heading to school in St. Mary's College. By 6 o'clock, 6:15, you were in school. And that's a reality for many children across the country. So people were in school already, parents headed to work, and then they were in work and suddenly heard, well, school is closed and come and pick up your children. So it became an issue.
Yeah.
But Richard, everybody know we in hurricane season. Watch Sigoni in the night and you will know what taking place.
No, don't say that.
Oh, Lord.
Don't say that.
Well, but I don't think there are many parents who will follow what the official policy is. And if school is on, they're going to, and because they have work, they're making sure their children are going to school. That's what's going to happen.
Just to be fair to Sigoni.
Thank you, San Fernando.
Sigoni doesn't come up with those things herself.
Quickly, I have people online. Go ahead, San Fernando.
Rain does fall in Marabella and don't fall by me, and I am the beginning of San Fernando. Rain does fall right there and by me dry. Anyhow, Wendell, could you walk us through how to get on the YouTube, please?
Oh, Steve Khan will do that.
Just go to YouTube and look for Power 102 FM Trinidad and you'll get us, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
No, how do they join the link? I think that's what you
The link is on the side. You'll see it highlighted in yellow, and you click on it, and we'll see it like what Oliver and Warren did. And
that's some very good steps. First, put on close, then press the link.
First, put on close. Oliver and Derek, good morning.
You always assuming people make it.
Good morning. Paul, I want to tell you, you're not nice.
He just assume people naked, you know.
Just to the minister yesterday, that was both ways, because I mean, okay, a normal parent, normal common sense. You see what I like that now. If my daughter was going to school, I wasn't sending my daughter to school, right? In that type of weather. But also the minister, I mean, he deserves some lick, because I mean the timing with the water.
You see, as Richard said, people have subjective interpretations based on their experiences.
Yes.
So while people are saying parents should have take common sense and keep the children home, suppose in South it's not raining.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, which is the example we gave.
Yeah, so saying that everybody's experience is the same and everybody should make the same decision is unrealistic. That's why the official correspondence or information is so critical.
It's critical. It should have been out earlier. But as I saw somebody posted on Facebook, it was 7:30, and the minister just woke up, right, for that good night sleep.
Again, it was 5 to 7. So people are also exaggerating when it was.
Yes. Yes.
And so that she just woke up with all that nice rain. She had a good night sleep. So she just woke up and she just realized what going on, right? So, but she deserves some stuff. She deserves something for that.
Nah, she deserves no links.
So, gentlemen, too bad you all not here with me tomorrow to celebrate. But they can't get no cake and ice cream, but
your birthday's tomorrow too, Oliver?
Yes. Yeah,
well, happy birthday. I didn't know that.
Thank you, yeah. So the celebration starts tonight, you know? And I'm not ashamed to say this is my vote. You know, some people
Congrats, man. Yeah, it's a blessing to reach that age.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
All the best. Happy birthday. Derek, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Derek. Morning.
Good morning. I just want to add some context to this whole debate on the US travel advisory. It's interesting to me that every time this comes out, we seem surprised and we always have the same response. How that could happen to we? When you look at the utterances of people in power, of politicians and the media, it's not surprising to see that the US would take this particular position. And I mean, they obviously have their own, intelligence, and they know, stuff that probably we don't know. But I just want to direct people to, there's an article in the Express in what's this, May 25th, 2022, right? Which talks about the SSA 2021 report. This is the Strategic Services Agency, our premier intelligence agency locally, 2021 report. And in that article, which talks about the report, which was laid in Parliament 2021 and 2020, they say basically that terror actors remain a serious threat to Trinidad and Tobago. This is not the US saying this. This is our own local intelligence people saying this. And in one particular part here reads, terror actors remain a serious threat to Trinidad and Tobago as they aim to spread radicalized philosophies through moral panic and recruit otherwise disenchanted and easily susceptible persons. That's the first thing. If you go back and you remember what was said, Paul, you might remember during the anti-terrorism debate, right, which was in Parliament, which that bill was passed the 3/5 majority in July 2018. And you listen to the tone, the tenor of why we need this particular anti-terrorism bill. And I mean, you would see, Trinidad and Tobago remains the only country in the Western Hemisphere that has had an Islamic uprising. We were per capita the highest, source of jihadists to Syria.
There was, I was going to mention that there was quite a bit of international coverage about persons who are alleged to be terrorists coming from Trinidad and Tobago and going to the Middle East to train.
Indeed, and so in I think around in January in 2018 as well, we had an incident I think around Carnival where the police claimed to have disrupted a terrorism plot to disrupt Carnival. Do you remember that?
I remember that. And we all said that was possibly a hoax back then.
Well, I mean, if the police would have said that, that's one thing. But the UK, in response to that development, would have increased their alerts and warning to Trinidad and Tobago, their terror warning, and subsequent to maybe a couple months afterwards, they lowered the warning. But that act prompted a response in a travel advisory from the UK government. The other thing I would also say is that this travel advisory, this particular wording, hasn't really changed for Trinidad and Tobago since the US started this back in 2018. So travel advisories.
I beg to differ there. That is that paragraph. The terrorists are most likely to attack churches and sporting facilities and local government offices and cultural places. I've never seen that before. That's extreme.
So no, so this, you could go back, you could use the website, right? You could look at the travel, and for anybody who's listening, if you go, you look at the travel advisory, look at the state government, look at the US State Department's website, and you would see the current travel advisory. Now, you can go back in time using something called Archive or the Wayback Machine, which is another sort of internet service that allows you to, you put in any website URL, and then you could go and see, they take snapshots of websites in the past. So you could go back and see what was said in the past. And for instance, in April 2019 is the exact same wording. Nothing really changed. Wendell, you said something before, which was interesting. Why Port of Spain as opposed to Arima, for instance, right? And I'll tell you why. Because
that was a joke, eh? I was just trying to provoke Richard.
I understand, but Port of Spain in this particular time, maybe they've updated. The little update was for all of COVID, Trinidad would have been level 4. Don't travel to Trinidad and Tobago because you couldn't get flights out, etc. But now Port of Spain is level 4, and I just want to remind people that Port of Spain, you recall 2019, at the end of 2019, all years, right? When there was an attack, I think it was on a maxi stand or on a taxi stand that was to probably Maracas, that side there. And people came into Port of Spain and they had this big attack. And then subsequent to that, the Minister of National Security came on television and said that it was a plot to destabilize the country. You all remember that? Early 2020?
Yeah, but Derek, I also said too that outside of that particular paragraph, most of what they've said is justified.
Well, I'm saying that particular paragraph has been in place for a very long time. And I also want to remind people that Gary Griffith and his DCP at the time, I think it was Ford, went to Parliament before the Joint Select Committee of National Security. And when asked if he would consider this to be a terrorist attack in Port of Spain, in the city of Port of Spain, Gary Griffith said yes. Then Commissioner of Police, he said yes.
Yeah.
So that the US and the rest of the world, they are looking on and at these things, and that they would advise their citizens basically what we are saying. Terrorism is a problem. Port of Spain has had a terrorist attack. That's what the commissioner, then Gary Griffith, said in Parliament. So don't be surprised when these type of things come out. That's all.
Yeah, but we're now in 2022. So the issue is whether this is still relevant to 2022 or not, because what you're given is a historical context. And if it's not, from a government security standpoint, then the government needs to articulate and register their objections to it. The United Kingdom also has a terrorist advisory from the travel.gov site from the United States. So the United Kingdom has a level 2 warning, and there are terrorist advisories that terrorist attacks along the same wording for the United Kingdom. So it's a real issue, I guess, around the world where terrorist attacks can occur. Is Trinidad and Tobago realistically a place like that? And if the answer to that is yes, then fine, the government can just shut up and go with it. But if it's not, then the government needs to articulate and argue and publicly say, well, look, we disagree with you. It doesn't mean they're going to change it, but at least you can register your objection.
No, I think that the advisory in place currently is level 2 for Trinidad and Tobago, which is exercise increased caution. However, Port of Spain is level 4, don't travel there.
Yeah, so but United Kingdom is level 2 also. So right. It's not a Trinidad and Tobago is alone as a level 2 issue. And some people may not think that United Kingdom is a level 2 warning for US citizens with the same sort of terrorist warnings, but it is.
Now, you would be surprised to know, last time I checked this, that there are a lot of countries in Europe, for instance, have this terrorism warning. I think Germany, Italy, France had the same sort of a caution with respect to travel and terrorist attacks, right? So, this is just sort of language on the parts of the US State Department. It's sort of, I would say, it's become kind of routine.
I was about to ask that. Is it that they're using the word terrorist loosely? Is it that they're saying that gang warfare may likely be in these places, because we have had gun killings. We have had a killing yesterday. We don't know the circumstances right outside Price Smart.
I think when the Americans use the word terrorism, they mean terrorism.
Well, and so that's what I find.
I don't think they mean gang warfare. When the Americans put out a release and they say terrorism, that is what they mean.
Well, is that to me, I find extreme, because we have not had terrorists attacking tourist transportation hubs, markets and shopping malls, local government facilities, hotels and clubs.
I think either way, it needs some kind of clarification from the Minister of National Security.
I would say two things. First of all, a U.S. citizen or a U.S. passport holder is like, they are at an increased risk, right? Whether you want to, whatever we say with respect to Trinidad and Tobago, if it is that, somebody wants to attack, they ain't going to come and attack no Trinity, right? It would be U.S. citizens that so that's why from the State Department's perspective, they put these things out.
But again, Derek, there has been no evidence that a U.S. citizen has been attacked by terrorists in Trinidad and Tobago.
And that leads to my second point, right? Which is that when you consider what is said, if you think if Jamaica, look at what happens in Jamaica, Barbados, if we were dependent on tourism, I think our local authorities would be more mindful of what they say, right? With the fact that, what we say basically goes out, right? And
but Jamaica has a level 3 warning from the United States.
And people still travel to Jamaica.
But with regard to Jamaica, they don't include the term terrorism.
And
they talk about crime. So that's what I'm saying. It's an issue, and Paul is right. It's an issue that I think the state has to answer.
Because it not only affects tourism, it affects possible investment in the country.
Yes.
And Jamaica, even though Jamaica is a tourist country, Jamaica has a higher level. They had a level 3 warning because of the violent crime, and level 4 for certain areas of Jamaica, but they don't include the words terrorist.
I think the state of Trinidad and Tobago needs to respond to that and put it in context for us.
And if there is a response, if whoever the powers that be are listening, I'm just saying the SSA report 2021 has that terror actors remain a serious threat to Trinidad and Tobago. So that is probably where they can start from, because I think people don't read these things.
So by that logic, does that mean that the America should give themselves a level 4 rating too? Because terror actors have certainly targeted the US in a big way, unfortunately. So would they give themselves and they're always on alert in some city, should they give themselves a level 5?
Well, maybe that's for other countries to do, whether they want to do that or not.
We discussed that this morning.
And that not happened.
All right. Derek, had a run. Thank you so much for joining us on
Zoom. Only 2 minutes.
Just choose.
Where's Paul gone?
All right. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, Derek, for joining us on Zoom and our calls. Let's get into our news brief. Ivy is it.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Everybody is on edge, and some government speakers